Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And tonight, I'm a little bit late. This January 2nd, 2025 live stream. It's the Money Making Monday live streams. And I'm about an hour late, but I have to say very sorry. But we're still going to have a live stream. And everybody who watches it in replay, make sure you share the videos. And welcome. Stop Struggling Now gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so much for being here this evening. Also, tonight, dividends pay off. Cha-ching, cha-ching for everybody that's in the Yield Max Defiance group who gets paid every Friday and every monthly. You got to love the payouts. Now, because of volatility in the stock market, up, down, up, down, up, down is better than staying level. That means lots of trades are going on. If you can get some money from those trades and those fees without having to worry about the trades themselves, that's why YieldMax ETF's Defiance Group is also ETFs. That's why they're doing great things for a lot of people. Now, dividends, cha-ching. Liabilities are rising, just as we talked about 5 years ago. Things are going to hell in a handbasket financially for everyone. 80% of the population living paycheck to paycheck every month is not helping you. You're having a decline in services, that you need. Healthcare, gas in the car, repair bills, housing costs, all of it's rising. You cannot escape, ladies and gentlemen. So what does that mean on Money Making Monday live streams? You're going to have to make more money, sadly. Tap out. That's why 80% are living paycheck to paycheck right now. Can you imagine 200 plus million people living paycheck to paycheck every month, and all it takes is an extra $1,000 and it's in disarray for everybody with no credit card relief? We don't want you in that position. That's why you have to keep making strides towards buying assets that pay you, and offshore and onshore. So let me know what you guys are thinking, but make sure you share the videos. Also, let's show a little love for our own Professor Auntie Val and family. You like the weather kind of getting warmer? How about iced coffee, iced tea, premium blended with beachfrontjava.com? And you use the promo code SSN Lifestyle, all caps, all one word, and you receive a discount for life after your first order. Beachfrontjava.com. Ziploc bags, half-pound bags, up to 5-pound bags, ladies and gentlemen. Premium coffee from Africa, Indonesia, South America, Central America. You have Keurig, no problem. This is coffee. You have drip ground, no problem. You want fine ground, no problem. You want whole beans so you can churn them up yourself, no problem. All of that. You want tea? The healing power of tea is at your disposal. Beachfrontjava.com. Use the promo code SSN Lifestyle, all caps, all one word, and show some love. All right, let's get into it. And of course, you know where to get this. StopStrugglingNow.com. Now, look to buy assets. You have 1 year, 6 months left to get your house in order financially. I know it's going to be rough. 70% of the population does not have $1,000 in their bank account. So if you don't have credit cards and you don't have $1,000 in your bank account, you can see where this is going, an implosion on epic proportions So, therefore, what should you be doing? You guys know the routine. Think about businesses that you can create or buy into. How about that bizbuysell.com website for a start? You know what's even funnier? You can go to Facebook, go to Marketplace, and people are selling their businesses. And it's funny because it's most often the high risk businesses, restaurant, fast food, food trucks, things of this nature, where they're saying, just give me $10,000 and you can take over this spot that they're leasing or take over this truck. I mean, it's incredible because it's hard out here when people do not have money to buy into your business that you're selling, the goods and services that you're selling. It does not matter how successful the business has been over the last 10 years or 5 years or 2 years or 1 year. This is why you have to make investments that's going to pay you back without you having to get customers to buy into your business. And that's where equities come into play. The stock market comes into play. Treasuries come into play. Savings come into play. But unfortunately, you can't save your way to paying off your liabilities. You're going to have some assets that pay you. Dividends are great. You have an opportunity to get some dividends. We have a person here, by the way, who has joined us just 2 months to 3 months ago. And he's roughly reporting 18% return because he got involved with dividends, stock market dividends, that is. And that is incredible in itself, buying at the right time when the market was going down. And so that helped out greatly. And then he picked the stocks that would give out high dividends. And when you start talking about 18%, 15%, 14%, 30%, 40% ways of getting passive income every month, you have to take that very seriously. And yes, it's going to take you some money to do that. So again, you start now. Even if it's $25 a week, it does not matter. Do you know the funny part is if you had $25 a week, $100 per month, let's just say, because you have 52 weeks, but you have $100 per month, you only realize that's $1,200 a year. Here's the thing though, over time, if you have some interest money coming in at 15 to 20% returns, even that little bit amount after 25 to 30 years starts adding up. And so that's what a lot of people forget. They say, well, I can't do it. You need to start, ladies and gentlemen. You have 1 year, 7 months. You need to figure out how you can buy things that are going to give you money back in the future that does not require you to open up a high risk business when consumers do not have money in the United States and, in fact, worldwide. All right, here's Mr. Dividend himself, Brian P. He got the notifications today and on Friday. Bing, bing, bing. Reinvestments. Bing, bing, bing. We're doing it. Welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. Thank you for joining me on the late night, 1 hour later edition. He says his tagline this evening: happy day, Eric. Thank you. I hope all is well with you. Yes, man. Everything's looking up. Happy day, SSN family. Smash that like button. I got the notification and saw the video. Thank you so much. And he says it. We are making money in here. Now, specifically, I can give you guys some things right now. Go write this down. Make sure you have your pen, pads, and papers ready because you have real estate investment trust out here giving anywhere from 15 to over 20% return annually that you can get yourself involved in. ARR, ARR, simple. ORC, simple. PSEC, simple. AGNC, simple. That's right, hit the replay button. Just for starters. Just for starters. There's some other high risk, high rewards type of thing too. But is it high risk to have real estate investment trusts that have invested in apartment buildings or homes and they're giving out about a 80 to 90% distribution of the profits to stockholders? And they have high interest rates at the moment. So if you're thinking like me, and you think the Federal Reserve is going to reduce interest rates, you think Treasury bonds are going to go down a little bit, um, and you think it might be in the next 60 days, 70, 60 to 90 days. I think it's going to be 60, but we'll see. Um, then that's best for the real estate investment crowd. And if you can lock in a 15 to 20%, 21% return on just those right now, that would be worthwhile looking into, right? So that's what I'm telling you right now. So you have to look at several things, and there's not too many things where you're going to be able to get passive income, right? Without risk. If you have a business, that's going to be risk. No matter what you do, there's going to be risk. Putting it in a bank, that's a risk. Buying treasury bonds, okay, 4.4, 4.3%, but inflation is higher than that. Some people would say, hey, Eric, they just mentioned 2.8% or 2.3, whatever percent. And I'm like, well, is it really that? Because, they usually take out things like energy costs and food costs, and they milk the system. It's not really everything that you're going to buy, right? They're not going, okay, take the energy costs out. Fine. Take out the gas costs. Okay. Take out the food cost. Now, what's the most expensive things that a person's going to have? Your household bills, which involves the energy bills, your insurance bills, which they don't count. So you go to shadowstats.com and you get the real inflation numbers based on 1980, not the newfangled ones for the last 50 years. So people sleepwalk, making you feel comfortable. Inflation is only 1% or 1.5 or 2.3. It's BS. It's always like double digits. They're just not going to tell you. So we get to this point now so people can sleepwalk, where 80% of the population is living paycheck to paycheck during the course of a month. And we have the highest credit card debt in history of the United States, because people have to start using their credit cards to pay their groceries, use their credit cards to do anything, because they don't have enough money at the sometime during the month. So you understand the playbook, what we've been talking about for 5 years. So if you're new here, some people have the head start. They already said, let me act like a rich guy. Let me have some offshore business going, offshore banking going, offshore real estate going. That's what people decided to do. So they're going to be in a better position. Now, I used to talk about 5 years ago when I said, what if your passport gets shut down, shut off? And people were, laughing like, that would never happen. What if you can't leave the United States? People were like, oh, you must be smoking something because America is the land of the free. You guys hearing things about Americans can't go to Canada? Just started happening. Your passport's no good. United States is not allowing you to leave. Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. You thought North Korea, China, Thailand, Vietnam, yeah, you thought those guys were the only ones in the world that were like dictatorship like stuff. Land of the free is not so free. It's just a matter of time. So, again, I'm going to tell people what I was saying 5 years ago. If you decide that you want to invest in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, in Mexico, in Central America, in South America, if you can't leave the country, how are you going to get there? You're not walking through cartel land. I'm telling you that right now. But I will say what I've always been saying. You can always get on a boat, and you can always get to an island in the Caribbean. The most dangerous man in America. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Eric, check out your emails. All right, since you're one of the few that's in tonight, we'll actually try to do that venture. Let's go see what we got. Man, Brian P., Mr. Dividend, you're sending me over some disturbing information. Disturbing. I can't even believe the amount of information that would have normally been mainstream media, so the whole world would know, is being kept under wraps from people. It's so disgusting. First of all, we have a few people that's been involved with the government before, so they know how the government actually operates. But that's, you have clearances, you have people that's, been arrested and abused by the feds and things like that. So even though it might be millions of people, well, millions of people don't have a megaphone. And then how many people are afraid that their government's actually going to jack them, right? So they're not going to speak out. Only some of us are brave. Not everybody can be brave because you have a job, you have bills, you have to worry about lots of things. So speaking out generally means you might lose what you deem as everything. All right, let me see if I can get something here. Um, Hold on. Oh, there we go. It looks like I can check something out tonight, so we can talk about it tonight, Mr. Dividend. I might be able to pull some things up on the screen, but we know what's going to happen, man. You're just preaching to the choir that we have to preach to another choir because a lot of people are sleepwalking over here. And by the way, some of you, uh, I have to say this: the SSN Nation, basically, we're not has never been promoted generally outside the United States. Um, just so everybody understands, we don't have a worldwide audience, even though we talk about worldwide locations and investments that are worldwide. Real estate is an investment worldwide. Businesses is something you do worldwide. Passive income is something you figure out worldwide. But for whatever reason, we only have two people from Canada, two people from the Caribbean, one person from the EU zone, and that's about it. So we've never had any worldwide audience of any magnitude. Everything is kept inside the United States. Just like if somebody was messing around with algorithms. Go figure. And we're demonetized, so I want to say that as well. James Way is in the house. Welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. And he brings his tagline this evening. Hello, guys. The rent is too damn high. Got my reminder yesterday. That's right. The rent is too damn high. And by the way, it's only going to get higher. And that's why you need those dividends, ladies and gentlemen. You need passive income coming in. And by the way, it's going to be one hell of a ride over the next 1 year, 6 months. That's all you got. You don't have time to be sitting around playing games. You're going to have to figure something out if you can. Contraction is a bad thing. We didn't hear from you. What is this? You didn't hear from me. I can't log in. What are you guys doing out here? What do you mean you didn't hear from me? I put the code in. What's happening? Let me see what's going on. Hold on. They got me all messed up out here. Oh, there it is. Okay, no wonder. That's messed up. Okay, I'll do it again then. Oh, you dogs. Oh, man. Okay, here we go. All right, I thought that was good enough, but apparently I got a double whammy. Have to use my fingerprints and everything to log into my freaking email account. This is crazy. What's the world coming to? But I like it, but it doesn't do me any good against the government. Ordinary citizens, yeah, okay, fine. It blocks them. It don't block the bad guys. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me see if I can actually get in so we can actually discuss some of this stuff that Brian P is going to be sending me, man. It's going to be very, very bad. Very bad. I don't like it. But James Way, very nice to see you, man. Hope everything's been going well over the last few weeks and months. Okay, let's go. I got a few things I want to look at. Let's come on. Where's it at? Hiding? Of course it is. All right. Now, anybody have any ideas what they're going to do if and when the stock market has a decline. What are people going to do? You're going to put your money, take it all out, or let it ride, or you're going to be into Bitcoin? You're going to buy some gold and silver? Come on now. You guys know you got to have a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver, a little platinum, palladium, whatever. You know you got to have a little bit of Bitcoin and Ethereum. You got to have it. All right? You have tools at your disposals right now. You can also go the brokerage account ETF models if you want for Bitcoin and Ethereum, because hell, you can take the derivative version as well. Take your pick. But you're gonna have to be in the game, ladies and gentlemen. You can't be like 2000, 1995 to 2015, like you're in the EU zone, where your money's no good at the bank, where their interest rates are negative. So you got to pay them to keep your money, or you got to put your money in their stock market. Because where else are you going to get the money? Savings accounts are at nothing as well, zero. So you had to invest, and you have to be 50, 60, 70 years old and take those risks. That's where we're headed, ladies and gentlemen. All right. The elite secret courts where you have no rights. Uh oh. Uh oh. Oh, XRP. Who hasn't bought XRP at 25, 30 cents? Come on now. You guys got to get some. Um, how China became the world's largest debt collector. Jesus Christ. Why, oh why are you sending me these things? This is just like Joe Nay when he starts saying things. I'm just like, oh my God. I don't like talking about this. I'm already in the doghouse for life, fighting uphill battles that most people only make movies on. Oh my goodness. I think that you know what? I think it's time I do the movie thing. I think I got to do a script. I think I'm gonna have to do a script. It would be one hell of a ride. I was telling people about the stories. We do Friday night stories. It's Monday night, and I was telling them stories about. I said, "Yeah, man." I said, "Can you imagine?" I was talking about when I was in college and things like that I've discussed here many times. And I was telling them, I said, when they didn't have when I played, and I said when I went to University of Florida, and, and after the football game, my first year there, football comes like what September I think or something. And so after the game on the field, I see a lot of people congratulating the players. The U of F Gators were ranked, whatever, top 5, whatever, top 10. But the point is, the boosters or people, I don't even know who they are at this point because I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with boosters. I'm not familiar with the what's going on. All I know is after a game, a lot of people are on the field. The players are hugging and slapping five, and fans are all over the place, and adults are all over the place in suits and ties and stuff. And when I'd see them shake somebody's hand, funny thing, I started noticing there was like greenbacks. And so they were passing money to the players after the game. And I was sitting there like, ah, this explains a lot, a whole bunch. And so that was Division One. So I was there for Division One. Then I went to go play basketball in Division Two. And back then, Division Two, you're not going to have this type of pay to play type of environment, right? So I started telling them about when the I had to try to go to the bookstore, and because I played basketball, I was trying to have I was trying to make money from my jersey. So I go, naively, I'm only like 19, 20. I go in naively to the bookstore and I say, "Hey man, uh, I want to have my jersey that you're selling in here. I want to put my jersey on. I want you to buy my jersey from me, and put it out here on the rack so I get paid." The dudes were like, "Hell no, that's not gonna happen." I was like, "Okay, this is interesting." So they laughed me off. I said, "Okay," but then it's basketball season. And after the basketball games, or before the basketball games, that there's a snack bar there. And so what I did was I went in to the AD, athletic director, Ralph Barkey, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, man," because I told him about what happened at the bookstore. He says, "Yeah, yeah, you can't do that." I was like, "What do you mean? You guys can make money, I can't?" So then I said, "Hey, man, how about I sell my stuff in the snack bar while we're playing during the games?" He's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, how about that?" He goes, "That's a damn good idea. I think, yeah, I'll call the NCAA and get approval and see if I can get approval for this." So after a week or so goes by, he calls me. He says, "Eric, I need to see you at my office." I go in the office and I'm like, he goes, "What's up?" He's like, "Yeah, the NCAA got back to us. They said that's going to be allowed." So now here I am. After every game, we don't have boosters, but we have people going to the snack bar buying some stuff that I would have in there. Not only my stuff, 49ers were hot, the LA Olympics were hot. So I had all kind of goodies in there. So after the game, I would go pick up money. Instead of going to the locker room to shower and do whatever, I'm at the snack bar collecting money. So that's how I was making money while I'm playing hoops at a Division II school and got approval from NCAA before NIL money, which everybody knows NIL money now. So again, how China became the world's largest debt collector. Oh, this is crazy. Uh, China was the leading financier for developing nations throughout the 2010s, channeling over 1 trillion into infrastructure projects under Xi Jinping. 100,000 we've been $1 trillion on the military industrial complex, while these guys are over there just making, one aircraft carrier, making some new jets, making some new technology that the United States may or may not have, because they're spending their money on technology, how to advance it. $1 trillion they're investing so they can get money from other countries, which is the wisest thing to do, which is what the capitalist countries have done. But the capitalist countries, such as the EU zone, the IMF, America, what do? If you're a poor country, they strap you with debt. So they strap you with debt knowing you can't pay it back. Then, in order to recoup your debt, they got to take your gold, got to take some of your assets. That means you got to give up some of that oil or whatever other precious resources that you have to pay us back. And that's where the downfall is. As you guys know, you can't be in debt a few $100 billion and then where you make your money from the assets that you have, you give up a portion of those assets. How are you going to pay back the debt? That'd be just like Mr. Dividend saying, okay, hey, I pledge 50% of my portfolio that brings me an X amount of dollars in dividends. And if I can't pay it back, well, of course you can't pay it back. You don't have the GDP to pay it back, but you need the money. And that's what they do because they say, okay, after you can't pay it back, we'll get some of those assets from you. And that's how they stay poor. This is the same reason why credit cards expanded. Same thing. How do you keep a whole nation poor? You make sure they don't get paid a lot of money and have to rely on their credit cards. Once they have to rely on their credit cards, you shut down either their credit card or you cap their limit. They went to their limit or a little below their limit, but that doesn't help them if they owe 1,000 and their limit's only 500 and they can't pay the 1,000. Well, we'll take some of your assets. That means now what's up next? Well, okay, now you have bad credit. Now what? So this is what the following downward spiral goes. 1 year, 6 months. So let's get back to why China for the last 15 years was spending their $1 trillion annually on buying into other nations to help them improve, which is basically just like a business. You're investing to make money because the money's more important than the resources. You can always make deals with the resources. Let's just get things in perspective. If I know you're an up and coming country, emerging market, and I invest in your businesses and we're partners, well, when the business in your country successful, I'm happy. And the people who you gave the money to, they're successful, they're happy. Who do you think they're going to be friends with? This is common sense. So, again, this is crazy. Check this out. 2017, China Merchants Port Holdings famously gained control of Sri Lanka's Hambantota port on a 99-year lease. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? This is what they were out here doing. So when you threaten China or other countries with tariffs and blah, 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 they're just sitting there like laughing, like, we don't even have to do business with you. Fine. You want to play the tariff wars? We'll do the tariff wars, but it doesn't no skin off our back. You guys are the ones that don't have manufacturing a facility and manufacturing facilities and you don't have cheap labor. This with the rest of the world. It's very simple. You don't want to isolate yourself like that in business. This business lesson right now is not a very good business lesson. Okay? Now, critics, including the United States government, this is rich, have accused China of debt trap diplomacy. Oh, this is rich. This is what the IMF, United States, and the EU have been doing for the last 300 years to any emerging markets. They've been doing the debt. Same thing. China learned it from capitalist system. Remember, China was not capitalist. They were communists. Hong Kong just got transferred to them, what, 20, 25 years ago? And Hong Kong was actually a capitalist system. So they were watching the United States. They had Hong Kong right next to them to learn. So they just using the same old playbook. Of course, they're going to use debt trap diplomacy. That's what the whole world is based on. That's what it was based on. That's what United States and Canada, that's what and France and all the guys are based on. That's how they make sure that these weaker countries owe them money. So you can grab the natural resources. This is plain and simple. This is not even rocket science. This is like child's play. Debt collecting is peaking, with China expected to receive a record 35 billion in interest and principal repayments this year. Of that total, 22 billion is owed by 75 of the poorest and most vulnerable nations. What did I tell you, ladies and gentlemen? The same playbook America and EU have been doing for hundreds of years. This is not like a China thing. This is an American and EU and European thing. This is crazy. The only difference between what China's doing in the EU and America and Russia is that they decided to do the smartest thing. They didn't go to war. Unnecessarily manpower and war money to do these things. Very smart. Got to give them credit. This old way of, taking over countries, having wars, and all this is a waste of energy and money, and a lot of it, quite frankly. Technology to be number one in the world, America has lost its way. But it's not over till the fat lady sings. But the fat lady doesn't have a lot of smart people that's running the asylum right now. All they're saying is tariff, tariff, tariffs. Tariffs does not help anybody in America. Just hurts people. That means that's all there is to it. That's it. That's right. I know you're out there smiling, man. You're out there. Yeah, I don't like talking about this because you could, it's like me. If you're a business person like me, it's making 0 cents. Because if you guys understand, you better find your way to passive income and dividends, or you have to figure out something. You can't just sit idly by anymore. Then you have to hope that you can even get customers. Vegas doesn't have customers anymore. E. White sent me something today on TikTok where a lady's down in Tulum. She's already talking about all of Tulum is like, you know where, Dominican Republic, pre-construction everywhere. All of a sudden now she came out on her TikTok. She's showing all these buildings that's right less than 100 yards away from her. Several condo projects. Nobody has come to work for weeks. For weeks. Remember when America sneezes and has an economic problem along with Canada? The rest of the world does too. So you know all the people that's buying down there in Tulum was mostly, you know who, Americans, Canadians, a few Europeans. But when money gets tight and there's tariff wars and there's a contraction of GDP, people aren't traveling, people aren't buying. They're trying to figure out what's the next move. So they're paralyzed. So they'd rather put their money in a savings account or a duffel bag of cash, which is highly suggested by me. Either way, your currency's devalued. But the problem is, do you want to leave your money with somebody else that's going to potentially take it? Or do you want it in your hands? So you don't really, are you really going to care about losing 3, 4, 5%? I mean, think about it. Think very carefully. Don't have a duffel bag of cash at your disposal. All of a sudden, your ATM card shut off and your bank account shut off. And you can't leave the country. But I won't go with the last one. The first two. What would you be able to do? How are you going to pay your bills if your credit card's cut off and your ATM cards are shut down? How are you going to pay your bills? You're going to go, oh yeah, I'm going to go to the bank. Okay, the bank says it's a bank holiday. Sorry, you can't get your money. Now what? You know what's a funny thing? Your debt collectors, they don't go, oh, we feel for you. If we feel for you, we'll just, you don't have to pensional. There won't be any late fees. There won't be any collections. There won't be nothing. We'll just give you some time to work it out. Says no debt collector. You really think they're going to have some empathy? You think they're going to give a damn? No. Your water, sewer, electric, I don't know if water will be turned off, but your electricity, gas, phone bills, they'll all be yanked. Then what? You see where this is going, ladies and gentlemen? I'm painting a picture. I've been painting it the whole time for the last 5 years, 5.5, almost 6 years coming up. In fact, it might be 6 years coming up. There's going to be a birthday. Uh-oh. Something fell. I got my color schemes messing up. But it's going to be very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. You know, here we go. Get this back in the program. But it's going to be very interesting where you're going to stay. 1 year, 7 months is all you have. 6 months now. 1 year, 6 months. You're going to have to get your debt resolved. Getting crypto, got silver, getting gold, got some XRP. Very good, James Way. That's it exactly. You are freezing up, he says. Uh-oh. We're freezing up. Of course we're freezing up, man. You know, it's kind of busy out here on the internet at 10, 12 at night. Yeah, I wonder why. This is nothing new for me, man. My whole life's been like this. This is craziness. Always got to work harder. Always got to be a little better. Always have to finagle, figure out other avenues. This is just tiresome. Um, but no surprise. I'm sorry that if we're the live stream is not kicking in properly. Let me see if I can take down some windows here. Let's see. It might be because I was on the other screens, but we'll see. Thank you for letting me know, Mr. Dividend. I appreciate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to be on here too long. It's only 40 minutes, but nonetheless, I just want to sound the alarm that you're not going to be out of the woods. There's postings. I can't even believe what I see on social media. where people are saying things like, oh, the market's the best since 2021 or 2022. I'm like, what's your point? The top 10% of the wealthiest own 93% of the stock market. What's your point? So the rich are getting richer? I mean, is that your point? Because that's the only point you're making when you say stuff like this. You need to be more concerned with your rights, your Social Security, your Medicaid, your health care, your insurance, your your civil rights, your job, union, if you have one, if you're lucky enough. I mean, these are the things you need to be concerned with. You don't need to worry about the 93% of the stock market that's owned by the top 10% of the wealthiest. You need those guys to like lose something. You need these guys to lose something. Otherwise, we're all screwed. All right. Joe Nay, another investor's here. Hope all's going well where you're at. Let me know what the climate's like, but I got to talk to you in a second about how things are going in the month of the end of May and June where you are. But welcome to the SSN Nation Money Making Monday live stream. And he brings his tagline. What's good, everybody? Hope everybody is doing good on this Money Making Monday. That is correct, man. We are going good. We heard the ding, 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 and it wasn't down for the count. It was like, wake up. We got money for you. Reinvestment dividends have posted. Exactly, Joe Nay. There's no hope out here. Get that passive income, ladies and gentlemen, while you can. This isn't going to be forever. The stock market is jumping all over the place. This is the time to take full advantage. Because once it settles down, whether it settles low or whether it settles high, you're not going to have these same opportunities unless you lock in prices now. All right, Joe Nay. So, Joe Nay, I was talking about E. White sent me over this TikTok from Tulum, Mexico. And the lady who was there, Tulum was another hot spot where people were investing over the last 3 years. And she's saying it's a ghost town with a lot of these projects. Nobody's there for a couple, 2-3 weeks. 1-2 workers. They don't have an immigration deportation situation going on. That's the point. They literally don't have investors or tourists there. Coming, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, ghost town, one of the other hot spots on the planet where people were making massive amounts of investments, is now like poof. Airbnb sitting empty. See, this is what I was warning about the Dominican Republic as well. This is what I think is going to happen. So, Joe Nay's there. Here's what he's got to say. He says 100% humidity. Oh, man, I know. Remember last year we stayed there May till June? I about died. I was like, oh, it was even worse. I remember one day the AC in the living room didn't come on. I was like, oh my God. After all day being out, coming in like 7, 8 at night, the living room was, oh my God. It had to be, I would think it was like 100 degrees in there. That's what it felt like, a sauna almost. Cut the AC on, air's coming out, but it's not cold air. It's blowing. I'm like, oh my God. And it's nighttime. So the Airbnb host call them, send them a message, whatever, and I hear them say, "Oh, well, we can't get there till tomorrow." Okay, that's expected because it's like 8 at night or whatever. But luckily, in the bedroom, AC and fan was working. All right, the guys come, and you know what they said, and something I did not know. Those split units, I didn't know they had Freon. They're like, "Oh, it's out of Freon." I'm like thinking I'm on an island. Where are they going to get Freon from? Sure enough, it took them from like 8 in the morning till who knows how long, 11, 12, 1 in the afternoon before they got some Freon for this thing. And then back in order. But the point is, it starts getting awfully warm in the hot box that's surrounded by cement. I mean, if you don't have AC, you have to be at the beach. There's just no way around it as far as I'm concerned. I mean, some people, I mean, you could withstand it, but you better be hydrated. It's insane. So, what he's saying right now, my God, I ain't complaining because this is where I want to be. 82 degrees at night. I know, man. I know. It's like almost the same weather at night as it is in the daytime. It reminds me of Las Vegas. When Las Vegas is 115, and then at night, midnight, it's 100. But it's different because it's dry. It's not humid there. So there's a stark difference. It feels kind of nice. So it's like the top down, excellent in Vegas. I love Vegas in the summertime. Not so much because I'm going out in the middle of the day, which by the way, be in Vegas in a week or two. But the point is, which I might go down to the World Series of Poker. I'm not playing just to meet some people, see some people I haven't seen possibly in oof, 15 years. Yeah, something like that, right? Um, but the point is low humidity and having your top down, cruising on the motorcycle, cruising on the convertibles, man. That's the best time to be in Vegas when the sun's down and it's 195 out. It feels so awesome. Now, I don't have that same feeling when I'm in the DR or in the tropical zone. It ain't even 100. It'll be like 90 with a crazy humidity number, and I still don't want to hang out at night. I want AC. It's crazy. It's crazy. I've never been in DR in July and August, so I don't even know what that's like. I can't even say. Yes, I saw those spots in Mexico. There are several of them. Hey, but that's the deal. Exactly, Joe Nay. That's the deal. And I like that Joe Nay said that's the deal. And that is the deal because, ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing you need to learn about real estate, about stocks, you always have a reason to invest. It just depends on your timing. So, like I was saying before, some people would look at this as a bad thing. I tried to say, remember, I just made the videos 125,000 Airbnbs that are in the Dominican Republic as a whole, 90,000 hotel rooms. That's over 215,000 units right now. And next month, that'll be more units because more condo units are going to be delivered and villas and all that that's going to be added to the rental pool. You're not going to have the tourists for it. And in fact, it's not just going to be Mexico, it's going to be all of the Caribbean as well. You're not going to have the tourists. The tourist numbers are going to drop. The ones that matter, United States and Canadian citizens, those are the ones that matter. Those are your investors. Those are the guys who come there and say, yeah, I want to start a business. Those are the people that's not going to do it. That means there's going to be an opportunity for you. You say, I might have missed the boom. Did you? No. When this stall happens, guess what else is going to happen? Those new projects are going to stall. And the ones that are just now being finished, and there's 20 to 30% of the units are actually not sold out, the developer has to get rid of them. So his thing going, well, we raised the price. The first phase, one bedroom was 99,000, but now the one bedroom is 110 or 105 for everybody else. Now all of a sudden it's like we have discounts. 10, 15,000 discounts if you buy from us. That's how it starts. But then when no buyers come, they start going, okay, I think how about 89, 90,000 for this one bedroom? Forget this 10, 15,000 off of 105, 99. We'll just get to the 85 grand. Who will take this? It'll be like a bidding. They'll give this stuff away. That's how real estate works when there's a down environment. Everybody who got in early 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023-ish, maybe, you're going to be fine because you bought at such a low price. Everybody else who has the inflationary situation, oh, we're going to add 20% to the price. We're going to add 25% to the price. Your HOAs, they're not $2.50. How about $3.50 per square meter? And oh, by the way, we're going to charge you for your 100 square foot or 10 square meter patio is $1.50 towards your HOA or $2. That's what's going to start happening, which now means more people are going to put their items, their units on the market for sale. And yes, I've received some things from people that units are already built, condos and villas, and people are selling them below pre-construction prices. Why? The pre-construction prices now. Why? Because they bought them at 100 and some thousand. Just because the pre-construction guys are saying, oh, that villa that you paid 150,000 for 3 years ago is now we're trying to sell it for 310. Good luck. You're not. All the other people are going, well, I bought this as a rental. Now I'm finding out I don't have the rental numbers. It's not making sense. I need to get out. So they bought it for 150. They don't have to sell it for 300. They can sell it for 180. And you know what that means. That means they're setting the market. And that means there's going to be opportunities, whether it's in Tulum, whether it's in Thailand, whether it's in Dubai, whether it's in Dominican Republic. It's coming. Just saying. It's coming. All right. Here we go. Taiwan is going through the same thing. Exactly. Vietnam is getting the business. But guess what? It's hot in Vietnam. Yeah, it's just like DR. I've been there several times. They keep it that. Yeah, they're in the tropical zone as well. Oh yeah, it's no joke. It's no joke. See, this is the thing where people go, "Oh, I want to go buy a cheap place over in Thailand or Vietnam." And I'm like, or Philippines or anywhere. DR, Tulum. I'm like, you do understand. You know, if you're going to rent this out and there's a downturn in the economy, people aren't coming. That's one of your first things. And the second thing is, if you say, I'm going to live there, are you really going to be able to live there in June, well, it starts in May, but June, July, August for the most part, and September, and feel comfortable? Most people don't envision themselves being there in June, July, and August. They're envisioning themselves most of the time when it's peak season, where there's low humidity, hardly any rain. That's where people are always in their brain. That's what they're thinking. They're not thinking, oh, yeah, I'm just going to live there when it's the hottest and the hottest time of the year with high humidity. You're not thinking that. But he's exactly right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the point I've been trying to make. This isn't just the Tulum, Dominican Republic. This is a worldwide problem. Americans cannot buy and go invest. They're the ones, number one in the world, that does the investments because we've actually had the extra income to do that until lately. So therefore, we're going to have less people trying to make investments. And in fact, less people even wanting to leave the United States. And when you get into a situation like what happened in the DR, where they're charging people, I mean, I just got the Seven Palms. They got Privé. They have a Seven Palms villa that previously you could have bought for 200 and I think it was around 220, 230. They're selling these in the 300,000s now. I'm sitting there like, what the? We're talking about 1,800 square feet, which I don't know if that's a lot of square footage to me. 1,800 square feet's not that much, but it's all relative, right? But the point is, they have to, because it used to only be anywhere from $800, $700 per square meter to 1,000. 1,000 to 1,200 used to be for premium build. That's no longer the case. You're talking $1,500 for the or that used to be seven, eight, $900 bill costs. So that's a problem, and that's why they have to sell these in the 300s now. My thing is, if you're going to sell some, who's going to buy in the 300s for a villa that's like 1,800 square feet? Because I got news for you. You can stay in America and find something for 300,000 that's going to be 1,800 square feet. All right. So, and that's where the problem starts coming in. You start putting price tags 350, 389. I'm like, wait, the average price of a home in America is 440, 450,000, and you're going to say get me this over there for 100,000 less? Now I understand everybody has their investment ideas on what they need to do, but I'm going to tell you right now, when you start charging as much as where your investors are coming from, well, Canada's a whole nother story. So people up there are paying, ridiculous numbers, like in New York and things like that, where things are off the chart. So it makes sense. Some of those people will leak out and be like, oh yeah, no problem. I'll buy a 350, $400,000, 1,800, 1,700 square foot villa. I don't know why, but I'll do it. I'm just like, okay, makes no sense. The heat in Vietnam and Taiwan is too much pressure for my heart. Hey, man, people have no idea. They don't have no idea. All right, I'll just tell you guys a little story. Uh, you guys know I have daughters. My youngest daughter, though, her mom is or was, because she passed away, was from Thailand. So, uh, Southeast Asia, it's a whole nother ball game. They got like monsoons. They got, I mean, it's out of control. Yeah, it's out of control. Joe Nay knows exactly. You know what that Vietnam Taiwan heat's like? Is like anybody been to Texas in July or August, but not near the water. In the middle of Texas in July or August, I don't wish that upon anybody. Don't do it. It's bad for your health. I mean, it's bad. All right. Florida housing market is crashing. Jonay. Exactly the same. Well, it's even worse for them. More houses on sale than buyers. Exactly. That's what we were talking about on when was that? Because I couldn't do Fridays. So it must have been last Wednesday. Exactly. Deportation in the US or nonstop. Exactly. So you're getting rid of the workforce. You're Florida is a whole mess. You're getting rid of the workforce. You're not helping with the insurance to cover what's about to come during hurricane season. So now people are running naked with no insurance coverages, and hurricane season's coming. And so now all these people are going to lose. There's going to be a catastrophe. It's going to happen, right? People are going to lose everything and have no way to recoup it. So now they go to zero. Your house is gone, doesn't have insurance. All the stuff in your house is toast. So all your belongings, everything is toast. And now you have to figure out, I have no job. I have nowhere to live. Government and FEMA's nowhere in sight for support. What do? Well, you doing what the people in Florida are doing. They're saying, you know what? I'm not even going to deal with this. Sayonara. Who's going to bail me out? And now there's going to be all kind of housing deals in Florida. And you know what else is going to happen? Because of the devastation that I'm pretty sure you guys, whoever doesn't believe in climate change, that's fine. But if you're in Florida and say you don't believe in climate change, I don't know what you're smoking, but every year you have a disaster. So I don't understand, but okay. When that happens, there's a fallout from that as well. There's a chain reaction. That chain reaction is very simple. If I lose everything, okay, Where do I go from there? Am I homeless? Do I move in with family in Indiana, Canada, Oklahoma, Arkansas, New York, Jersey? What? That means now you're putting pressure on another household because these people are generally a little bit older, in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and above. So now what? You're applying pressure to another segment of the population. And at the same time, you say, no, we're not going to have Medicaid. We're going to try to cut Social Security. We're not going to give you any health care benefits. We're not even going to try to roll out FEMA or anything, right? So now all of a sudden, it's a whole nother ball game with no government help or limited government help. And you're talking about millions of people. You can easily see there's going to be disaster. Well, it's already here. You can see what's going to happen in the Florida market. It's and this, and what's even worse, why would anybody even move there? I was almost going to move there. I was almost going to live there. I'd be I'd be I'd be pulling my hair out right now, having to pay. Man, the grandma's house was 900 square feet. 900 square feet. The people that bought grandma's house, I can't. This is crazy. 200 and some $1,000. That was crazy. But what's even crazier? The taxes went up from like 11, 1200 to over 3 grand. The roof on the house is at the time was 12 years old. It's now 15. The people may not even be able to get renewal for their house unless they're about to spend tens of thousands of dollars for the roof. Because they basically were trying to charge like $70,000, $70,000 for this roof on this 900 square foot house. This is why people are bailing out, because they're just like, that's a down payment somewhere else in a safer zone. All right. Brian P. He's got the trophies all set up. OKC or Indiana? All I know is Indiana plays defense hella good. OKC, I rocked, as you guys know. My three were the Lakers, OKC, Cleveland. Those are my top. Those were the three picks I picked for the finals to win. And I got OKC there, so I have to rock with OKC. OKC has the mismatches with both teams have somewhat of a mismatch, so it'll be very interesting how it goes. But I have to rock with OKC. All right, that's who's going to have the trophy. All right, NOAA has been stripped, so we will not know when the hurricanes and tornadoes and are coming and how powerful they will be. Stand by exactly. So what's going to end up happening? I think, Joe Nay, the NOAA has been stripped, but I think there's going to be some of those people, you know, what I'm referring to, the hurricane hunters, that's going to take them on themselves to get some readings inside. I think there's going to be some of those type people. That's what I think is going to happen. I think there's going to be some people that's actually going to do it, man. This is human nature, quite frankly. Humans, there's always a few heroes. And I think that's the only way this is going to happen. They started talking about hiring back a few hundred of the NOAA. I was like, a few hundred, you fired thousands. Like a few hundred, what's that going to do? It's insane. So again, you're putting people in jeopardy, which is actually going to make things worse. And just like what happened with the tornadoes recently, where there was no alarm being sounded, no early warning systems, and devastation everywhere. And it's been 3-4 months with Helene, the other ones in the Midwest, and there's no FEMA in sight. You guys can Google, you can see that a lot of people on the social media is like, where's FEMA? Where's our government? It's been 2-3 months and we have no help in sight. I'm like, I told you, nobody's coming to save you. We've been talking about this for 6 years. I keep saying, I don't really like to keep saying, I told you so. Because like I said, people were thinking that this dude's crazy. He said 5 years. Oh, look, it's 5 years. I just have to keep saying this. It's 5 years. So when I say 1 year, 6 months, you better take it to heart. 1 year, 6 months, because you can see the decline happening. It's rapidly going down. So you have to make, you're going to have to take risk. It's just like you're in the EU zone right now. You got to take risks. I'm talking about 1990s to 2010, 2012, when they were doing that 0% interest thing. And so their citizens had to take risk. And you know what happened? The corporations who get bailouts and don't have to, and they can take whatever risk they want and get bailed out, they started buying up swaths of land. So that moved out citizens to the countryside, and they would not pay them livable wages. So now you have a situation of inequality, which is not good for any country or countries. And so this is where we're headed, ladies and gentlemen. So Joe Nay is exactly right. This is what a third world country situation is being set up unnecessarily. You realize we didn't have to fire NOAA, right? You know, we didn't have to fire FAA. We didn't have, right? You're creating, we don't have to have tariff wars. So we're creating all of this chaos so they can make new laws to take away your rights and freedoms. It's that simple. It's the Hitler playbook. And some of you are like, rah, rah, I like the Hitler playbook. But you don't realize uh, you're the freaking lamb to slaughter. It's that simple. Hey, Eric, you missed my last message. Okay, hold on. I missed a message. Hold up a second. Where did I miss this one? Jonah, Brian P. You mean this one? I'm freezing up? I don't see it. I don't see it. You put a link in it? Because if you put a link, it's not going to show. I got the awards. No, I don't see it. You're going to have to repeat that one for me, please. Hold on. You know what? Let me see something. Can I? Oh, wow. I didn't even know this. Hold on a second. I think I just realized there's a search button over here where I can act. Oh, wait. That's not Brian. Let me see. Yeah, I can do yours only. I didn't even realize that. Okay. Making money. No, I didn't. I don't see it. I saw that you are freezing up part, and it looks like I am freezing up. It's no surprise. Of course, I'm freezing up. Unfortunately. And on Friday, EV Mux was acting weird. I could not log on. Well, I log on, then it would shut down automatically. It would just shut down. I tried to redo it, shut down. 2 minutes, 1 minute or less, shut down. It was crazy. All right. I don't see your last message. It's not here. So you'll have to repeat that, please, if you don't mind. I'm going with OKC in 5, says Joe Nay. I can't argue. 4-1. Wow. Wow. I can't figure out the games, but while I'm thinking about it on the assessment, I can't agree with you. I think OKC's. I agree with you. OKC's going to win. That would be a 4-1. The things that I saw with Indiana was they're very good on defense. Defense wins, and their whole team was on point. But see, my thing is Thibodeau's offense, the New York Knicks offense, is ran like a traditional old school offense where you have a point guard that pounds the rock, has the rock, scores the rock at a high clip, and has it in his hands a lot. Where I don't believe in today's NBA, that's how you're going to win. I think you need your 6'6", 6'7" guys. I don't think you need a traditional point guard. And so I don't know if they'll be able to guard OKC how they were able to guard the New York Knicks. And the New York Knicks are limited. They didn't have that many weapons. Mikal Bridges, I love that pickup. Uh, and Nobi, I like that pickup. But the cat, the cat thing, um, if you have defensive liabilities, that's what the Knicks have, defensive liabilities. And so They're not OKC. OKC's a little different. They have this MVP. They have a guy 6'6", 6'7" that can handle the rock, so they don't have a true point. So they have guys that can bring the rock up, so you're not going to be able to apply the same pressure. At least I don't believe. And so I think that OKC will probably find themselves being able to expose Indiana a little better on defense, and I think they'll be able to stop Indiana a little better on their defensive end than this sloppy New York Knicks defense. All right, so I agree with you. I don't know about five. I kind of think it's going to be six, only because I love the pressure that they were putting on New York. But again, I can't really tell because New York plays that old school point guard handles the rock thing, and I'm not a fan. Mr. Musk knows the deal. He stated he doesn't want to be blamed for what the administration is doing. Guess what? It's too late. Exactly, it's too late because I'm blaming him. How do you be the richest guy on the planet and you're sitting over there messing over people's lives, making sure people aren't going to be covered for U.S. aid and food is rotting on trucks and all this other crazy nonsense because you have an agenda? That never sits well with me. If you're the most successful by numbers, how are you the one telling people that are in need, oh, I'm sorry, well, dude could have just went over to Tesla and sold a few shares and said, okay, you know what, I'll just take it out of my 400 billion. Let me go down and get, you know by the way, in case people don't know, $1,000 million duffel bags of cash is $1 billion. So you seriously, the dude is cutting people that need help, their medicine, their food, people who are going hungry, the hospitals getting their supplies. This dude, he can't sit. $1,000 million duffel bags of cash is $1 billion, and this fool got 400 of them billions of dollars. He can't call up and be like, man, okay, we got to cut these dudes, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pay for it. Here, let me get 50 of those $1 million bags. All right. Here, make sure the transportation gets all the supplies down there and do all this. That would have been much better. But if you have an agenda of evil, I can't rock with you. Assholes. I can't rock with you. And that's what it is. Agenda of evil. Joe Nay, you are right, Eric. Besides Cat, New York City plays 90s ball. I think it would be better series with New York City versus OKC. Uh, if that was the case, though, I think OKC would have went through New York with ease because there's a mismatch problem. They would have had mismatch problems. They had a mismatch problem with Indiana. Miles Turner and what's the other guy? They were having fits with those guys and Halliburton, Siakam. They were having problems with Halliburton. He's 6'6" and floats because their defense is inept. OKC would have, I would have almost say swept New York because Brunson would be. OKC plays different brand of ball. I don't see how Brunson at my size is going to be able to guard anybody on OKC's team. So they would have just picked on him the whole time. And with their sorry rotation that New York City has, it would have been a mismatch. Every time they switched, there would be a mismatch. There's just no way. I just can't see it myself. But you're right. That is like 90s ball is what they're playing, man. It's crazy. But again, I'm just going with the young guns who's going to be a problem in the league for the next 5 years till their contracts come up and they always get big headed. And I think Houston's up there next. Don't let them get a superstar because then that'd be crazy. But yeah, either way, I think it's OKC. In fact, I'm gonna have to bet on OKC. I forget about that. That's right. I'm gonna be betting on OKC to win. And also, I forgot who won the World Series last year. So I told you guys before, I always bet on the last two teams from the previous year. so I can get that early money. And unfortunately, I might not be able to get it, but I'm going to still do it. So I think did the Dodgers win last year in baseball? I think, but I can't remember who they played. So whoever won last year, those two teams I always pick at their odds and let it ride. And then money's in my account usually. And I'm like, what happened? Where'd this money come from? Because I don't check it, but once in a blue moon. In fact, I haven't even checked it in like 8, 9 months to see if I was right about last baseball season. Um, but I was because the Dodgers were there again. So I have extra money in my gambling account, which is cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up. If there's anything you want to discuss, please let me know now. But I made the 125,000 Airbnbs on the island of the Dominican Republic, part one, and I did a part two. Part two starts talking about the numbers and the breakdowns. Because again, you have to be real with yourself as an investor. And I'll be short and brief here. This does not matter where you're investing. If the numbers were the same, is the point. So if I was in Vietnam or Thailand or in Cancun, Playa del Carmen area, Tulum, and somebody said, hey, Eric, they've built right now on Airbnb, there's 125,000 units for rent in that area. And then I tell you, all them all-inclusive places, Eric, there's over 120,000, 125,000 hotel units. That's 250,000 units that somebody can sleep in every night, every week, every day, every year. So now what happens? If you then tell me, hey, we only had 700,000 passengers by air come to this area, to Tulum, Playa del Carmen, Cancun. Now, all of a sudden, you start going, well, wait, not everybody comes by themselves. So how many people came with 2 people in the party, 3 people, 4, 2? So you have to be reasonable and say, okay, we're not going to say everybody came with 3 or 4 people. We'll just go to 2 because we know it's going to average out to where it's probably going to be 3 or 4, right? But we'll go to 2. So that automatically means out of the 700,000 people that came, that means only 350,000 basically are looking for rooms. So if we have 250,000 rooms potentially available, and then you realize, okay, most of the people that come, 50% of the people that come land at the Cancun airport out of the 700,000. So now you're going, well, wait a minute, that's 350, that's 175,000. Okay. So now all of a sudden you go, well, Tulum has an airport, let's say, and you say, well, at Tulum's airport, only 10% land there. Now all of a sudden you start going, well, wait a minute, how many Airbnbs are in Tulum? And you go, well, they built like 100,000 out of the 125, let's say. Crazy oddie number. But now you're like, well, wait a minute, we don't even have enough tourists that's over there to fill all those rooms. That's exactly the point. Because once you don't have enough tourists, you have a whole bunch of empty and vacant Airbnbs, short-term rentals, and villas that's just going to sit there. And that means prices and values start decreasing until such time that it somehow reverses. And that's why I always gave you guys the story about when I went in December of 2020, when we stayed at this 2-bedroom ocean view unit across from the beach. Literally, the beach wasn't across, but there's a street in Dominican Republic in Los Corrales, and you could be in the water at 50 yards. You're in the water from the condo unit itself, in the water. You could see the water. It's right there across the street. The lady bought that during the high time in 2005, 6, and 7 for $264,000. Same thing that happened is going to happen again. She bought it for 264,000. We had the Great Recession, so Americans aren't coming over to buy. It was a hot spot at the time, but stopped. Prices came back down in the whole area. Some projects at that time, there was buildings that weren't built still at that time. Abandoned. Complexes abandoned. 13 years later, when we're there, she's saying the first person that gives me $264,000, I'm selling it. Because she had her for sale sign out there, and I asked her. That's what she said. I don't even care if I can get a little more. The first person that gives me back the money that I paid, I'll take it. The whole time though, she's been renting it out, getting her. I literally paid like $50 per night at the time. That's how crazy this was. This is what's going to happen again. Meanwhile, a place called El Dorado, where I initially stayed for the first 2 or 3 nights, and it wasn't nice enough to my, so that's why we had to move, and I found this lady. They were selling 2 bedrooms there, 60 to 70 grand. Yes, it's not the same as hers. Yes, it was probably built in 1995, but the places were still has a nice pool, has security, shopping less than 100 feet from your location. The grocery store was less than 100 feet from your location. All right, so it's in a great location. They weren't new, but they were selling them for 60 and 70 grand for a 2 bedroom. Her 2 bedroom was 264. So people are coming to offer her 75, 80 grand, thinking, okay, I'll pay a little bit more because it's ocean view. Little did they know she paid 264,000 13 years before. She's like, yeah, I get these people always offering me like less than 100,000. I said, yeah, because I stayed less than 100 yards back up here, and they were selling for 60, 70 grand for 2 bedrooms. Now, those same 2 bedrooms are now over 100, 125, I think, or 120 or whatever. But the point I'm trying to make is the same situation is going to happen again now, is my opinion. That's why no matter where you are, it's going to happen because United States citizens and Canadian citizens are not rushing to Asian market, Mexican market, Caribbean market to make investments in a turmoil economic state. So, but there's going to be opportunities later. Brian Pierre, did you watch that video with the doctor on Capitol Hill talking about the jab? I saw you're talking about RFK's not a doctor, but I saw something where they were talking about, get this, they don't want pregnant women or children taking vaccines for COVID. I saw something about that. And I'm sitting there like, okay, I don't understand what they're talking about right now because we know you have to take vaccines of some sort unless you want an epidemic. And then here's the thing that's a heartbreaker. You have a government that doesn't care about hospital healthcare. So my thing is you can tell people don't take vaccines, but then you don't even have healthcare to cover them when they get sick. These people are the ones that's going to have the burden of having their kids in ICU. This is crazy. The emergency from an ambulance and you ambulance and one night stay 10 grand. Heaven forbid if you got to stay there 2 or 3 nights and the next thing you know, a couple of, you know, surgical situations happen or some whatever they got to do. And the next thing you know, you got a $25,000, $35,000 bill because you said, it's all good. Don't do anything. That's just insane. That's insanity. Capitol Hill. Yes, man. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I'm not even going to say much about it because this is crazy. All right. Now, let's get down to business, though. You guys understand the playbook, so we're clear. The playbook is this: do not panic if you did not buy in the Dominican Republic or any pre construction properties. Do not panic. If you can buy pre construction, like I said, for 150,000 or less, then okay. Just know it may not be built for 4 years or 3 years. And as long as you're willing to give them 40 to 60% within 24 to 30 months and know it won't be finished and you're good, then go ahead. Or if you want to make alternative investments to get some more money in and wait to see what happens at year 3 when prices should reach their rock bottom, or you might be able to get a deal. In fact, it's going to be, you will be able to get a deal because the renters over the next 3 years aren't going to have a high rental rate. First of all, if you guys watch my video, 76% occupancy rate for the month of April for hotels in the Dominican Republic. Only low 80s in January, February, and March. If hotels can't stay at 90 to 95% occupancy, then you're not going to be able to get high occupancy in Airbnbs. So in a tourist location, just so everybody, if you're not clear, in a tourist location, you either have to have a a name brand that people with money go to. So if you're like a Hard Rock, if you're like in Cap Cana where they have these brand names, the rich people are rich. They go there. They don't want to stay with commoners generally, right? So they're going to still spend their money there. But if you're not in that upscale luxury atmosphere, and even they will not have 80%, 90, 95% occupancy. So the people that have their luxury condos or villas are going to have lower occupancy rates as well, but they paid more money. So now what's it going to be like? Somebody that was silly enough to go to Cap Cana and spend 350,000 for a 2-bedroom condo, and now they can't rent it for 300. They can't rent it for 250. They can't rent it for 200 per night, and they can't even get 50% occupancy. That's not going to be good. That's what's going to happen though. And guess what? If you always wanted to get something in that location, stay tuned. Same thing in Tulum. Same thing in what's the other place? That's in in the Cancun Peninsula. Oh, starts with an L. Can't remember. But anyhow, that's where this is headed, ladies and gentlemen. So with everything, there's always a way out. There's always a way for you to win. You need passive income coming in. You need to buy assets right now. You need to figure out a way. The best way right now is stocks that give off high dividends, 15%, 1% a month, 1.3% per month. That's all you can ask for. That's why real estate investment trust that we talked about at the beginning, ORC, ARR, PSEC. These are the type of things that can help you out, right? AGNC. These are the type of things you can get 15% and up right now while the stock prices are low until Jerome Powell and the Board of Regents and Governors, they decide to cut rates 60 to 90 days. All right. Okay, here we go. Measles is spreading. I'm reading briefs that people are catching it on airplanes in the US. I know because once you started, first of all, this is the same nonsense that led to the plague, which people are going, oh, I don't need to be vaccinated. I don't need to be worried. And they go, oh, we don't care if people die. We don't care if we get the measles, right? Then somebody's infected with the measles in your household, and you go, we're going on vacation to the hottest spot on the planet, meaning where all the tourists are going, a plane full of 300 to 500 people. And you decide you're going on there and thinking, I don't care about humans. Knowing good and well you possibly going to get somebody infected. Now they land in another city, another country. Now you're infecting the native indigenous people. You leave, you're still all good, but you actually gave a virus. Christopher Columbus, all the European travelers killed the indigenous people from viruses. Same thing, and it's freaking 2025 with all this information and technology, and people are stupid. I know. It's unbelievable. I'm trying to make 15,000 a month. Oh, well, you got a few more months to go, man. But you might be getting there because the dividends, if you're reinvesting the dividends, you're able to buy a whole bunch at near 52-week low numbers. I mean, sheesh, because you got to be doing 5G, 6Gs, maybe even more by now, a month in dividends and buying up like ULTY, YMAX, and all these are like under $10 a share. I mean, you could be adding 3, 4, 500 shares per month just in those alone. And if you have PLTY and you have 600 shares or 500 shares of that, and they gave out, what was it? I can't remember what they gave out. It was stupid. If you have CVNY, that gave out $4.50 some cents per share. The stock price is only 44, 10% in 1 month, and it's a monthly stock. Sheesh, man. If you have any CVNY, all you 100 shares would have been 400 and some dollars. You would have been able to buy 10 shares. I mean, this is how simple it starts. But those 10 shares next month, if you get the same $4, and now you have 50 some shares, or well, I got my numbers off, but what you have more shares, now all of a sudden it's even more. I mean, it can balloon fast if you can get 10 shares and then 12 shares and then 20 shares and 30 shares. 6 months later, another 100 shares, and they give out 400. That's $400 for every 100 shares. And now you have 400 of them. Now all of a sudden you're doing 1,600. I mean, you can get to 15,000 pretty fast, Mr. Dividend. But 4 years, oh, you'll be there because of the volatility, because Mr. Taco, on again, off again, no heart, who thinks he's making a deal by saying, well, I'm going to make tariffs 100%, and then turn around and be like, oh, well, they're going to be paused because the stock market goes down. Now the stock market's never going to go down anymore for that. No, they're not falling for it. I'm surprised they fell for it last time, mildly. Any of these tariff threats, they're like, oh, it's the boy crying wolf. He's not going to have the guts to do this. What are we doing? So that's why the stock market didn't drop last time when he said, oh, yeah, it's going to be 100 and whatever, 50% more on steel. We were like, whatever. But it's going to drop for other reasons, but it won't be for that. All right. PLTY, $7. Exactly, man. Exactly. Here we go. If another worldwide pandemic hits, prices will definitely go down. I believe prices in Punta Cana area are going to drop later this year. I agree with you 125%. I've already predicted this. This is how it's going to go. That's why I told people, do not initially, when we always talked about this in 2020 through 2023, I said, do not buy anything over 250 at that point, because you will not be able to rent it. You will not be able to rent it $250 unless you're on the beach. And even then, that might be sketchy. And it's definitely sketchy right now because I just actually looked at the Airbnbs. I should have included that in my part 2 in Punta Cana, because it's incredible. What's incredible is out at Hard Rock, all those condos, they are trying to charge people $100 per night like there's something special. They have nothing but a pool, some restaurants you pay for, and if you want to go to the beach, you have to pay $35 per person to go through their beach club. You can't just go to the beach. And you're like 20 to 25 minutes from downtown, have no grocery stores. People are having a problem getting through the security gate to come visit you. I mean, this is like insane. They're trying to charge people $100 per night. So I just went. I just looked in June, a week. What was it? June 12th to the 19th. I saw $700 for the week. I couldn't believe it. I saw $800 for the week. I'm sitting there just like, why would you stay there when I can actually stay in Los Corrales and for the whole week spend like 430 bucks, 450 bucks. And when I walk outside, restaurant, bars, nightclubs, music, and the beach is less than a 3-minute walk away. Why would I stay down somewhere that's in no man's land? But I guess people might be renting. I don't know. But if they are, I don't see why or how. How you're going to jump and say, yeah, I'm going to sign up and stay out here in the middle of nowhere with no amenities other than nothing, a restaurant. And if you want to go to the Hard Rock, it's $110 per person for a day pass or something. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting to watch. So, anyhow, nobody's going to escape. Even people who have low rental rates, you can't win. You can rent, but if you have less tourists, you're going to inherently have less occupancy rates, regardless of your price. So some people are going to be smart. They're going to say, oh, yeah, you know what? I bought my unit for 79, 80,000. I'm just going to charge people $40 per night. They can stay here a whole week for 300, $280 plus Airbnb fee of 50 bucks, $330 per week. Okay, great. I mean, but $300 might pay your HOA for the month. But if you got a mortgage, then you're going to need more than $380. You're going to need another $380 or $600 or something. So now you can't do a 50% occupancy rate. You need a 70% occupancy rate. You're not going to get it. If a hotel is doing 76% occupancy, there's generally no way you're going to be beating a hotel that's doing marketing and have amenities and all that occupancy numbers. That's a rare moment. You would have to do something crazy like just what I'm describing now. $350 for the week. Come stay here. Your occupancy rate might be high, but your income rate is going to be low. You don't want that unless you bought it for 35 grand. I mean, otherwise, this is pointless. So just remember the 0.1% rule in real estate investing. PLTY was $7 a share, and the price is 62 or 66, I believe now, or 63. 10% in 1 month was PLTY. You guys missed that too. Imagine having just 50 shares, which would have cost you $3,000. But those 50 shares would have gotten you in 1 month over $350. It pays weekly. So most people would have been happy with 10%. But what happens if you got another 10% the following month? Or 8% or 7%? I think most people would be happy with 17% return annually. This is why you have to play in this big boy game. All right. Last week, yes, thank you so much for mentioning that, man. Hey, Eric, have you heard of NAT? Yeah, NAT. I used to talk about NAT when there was a shutdown during the 2020 COVID. Remember, that's the Nordic tankers. I can't remember Nordic. What is it? Nordic American tankers or whatever. Anyhow, they used to give out dividends. The dividends used to be off the charts, and their stock price was low. I don't know what their new situation is. Let me go look it up right now while we're at it. But I don't even know if they give out dividends anymore. So, wait, what's going on? Oh man, this is bad. It's weird. Okay. What's happening? Okay, I got to get this off of here. Oh, that too. Nordic American tankers. There we go. Yeah. It's at 15.13%. This is what we were talking about during COVID. This works again because there's going to be a global economic slowdown. When there's a global economic slowdown, these Nordic American tanker groups, they actually are going to have the oils that they're going to have for their tankers. So the storage is that has to go somewhere. So if you're doing 50,000 barrels a month, you're not selling 50,000 barrels. Where are you going to store them? Right? So you're going to store it somewhere. So this is why North American tankers, yes, I've heard of them. It's another opportunity to get in now. It's $2.71 at a 15% yield. I love it. Thank you for bringing this up because this was a 2020, 2021 play during the pandemic, and we're almost like a pandemic, except it's an economic pandemic right now. And I believe this is a good price point to get in at 271 at 15% dividend returns, but make sure they still give dividends because I know they were messing around with their dividends in 2023, which made no sense to hold them at that time. But here we go. Nordic American Tanker CEO shows strong confidence, buys 100. Yeah, like I said, an economic slowdown is good for the tanker business. There's two tanker businesses. NAT is one, and DHT is the other. All right. Let's see what DHT is doing, seeing if they're still giving out dividends. They're called double hull tankers. They're $11, but their dividend's only 5% right now. So DHT Holdings, not the same dividend rate. 15% is much nicer. But make sure NAT's giving out dividends. Great play at the moment. Like I said, $2.71, I believe, is a great number. That's an awesome number, by the way. For something that's gonna happen. And again, remember our 1 year, 6 months, which is really you have 2 years. Just remember that, ladies and gentlemen. You have a little bit more time, but our timeline is 1 year, 6 months. Why is 1 year, 6 months important? That's to get your credit in order. You need a 775. That's to get rid of your debt, as much debt as you can. If you have the money to get rid of your debt, you need to get that out the way. All of that has to come into play. You have to get your assets in a row, whether you're calling crypto an asset, whether you're calling gold and silver an asset, whether you're calling passive income an asset, dividend income an asset, a business asset. You need assets. You have to grow your assets, regardless of value, right? And a house is not an asset. That's a liability if you live in it. All right? Just keep that in mind. So I'm not saying go out here and buy a home to live in. That's not what I'm saying. You need assets, money that pays you while you're sleeping. Because without that, you don't know if you're going to have a job. All right? Let's just get real out here. And you, as a retiree, you don't know if you're going to have your pension. You don't know if you're going to have your Social Security. You don't know if you're going to have your Medicare. You don't know anything. What's going to happen? And it's trending towards our government doesn't give an F, but they care about the giving money to the richest people, giving them tax cut, tax breaks, but they're not willing to give that same turnaround, the same amount of money that they're about to receive. They're not willing to put that into invest in the American citizens or the United States. Basically, it's not about American citizens because we're a nation of immigrants, but they're not investing in the American system. No, fast trains of transportation, no real movement in upper end technology to improve people's lives. I mean, all this comes into play. We live in a third world country. You guys just don't know it yet. It hasn't hit the majority of people, but there's a damn near 20 to 30 million people that know they live in a freaking third world country because they know they don't have wages that he can even pay to do anything. And they live in a messed up state, city, county, township. No schools, no services, no police, no firemen. I mean, this is a thing that's rarely talked about here in America. It's bad. So we don't want you out here having to worry if you don't have to, especially if you have monies that you can make investments with right now. You need to do it. Can't be shy at this point. All right. So you want to be debt free? You want to get your debt in order? Then see Tracy at resolvefinance.com. That's Tracy, Tracy, at resolvefinance.com. All right. And let her know SSN Nation sent you, Eric sent you. Uh, you know, let her know. All right. She's family. So make sure you let her know you're from here. She loves doing what she does because it helps people, just like I love helping people. That's what she does, except she does it with your debt. 1 year, 7 months, you could be clear. And then you can get your 775 credit score. That's generally how long it's going to take you, is about 2 years to do it the right way. So depends. She needs to look at your stuff. But all I'm saying is go check her out. I'll put a link down in the description box for everybody. Um, but yeah, Mr. Dividend, the Nordic American Tanker Group, yeah, 15%, yeah, I like it. As long as I got to double check to make sure they're still giving out that dividend and it's not some mirage. Like, you know how sometimes it's a delay, they don't give out dividends anymore, but they still report as if they did annually at 15.18%. So you got to double check on that. All right. So you always got to double check Nordic, but their price point is great at $2.71 a share. Come on now. That's a perfect number at 15%. I like it. Thank you for bringing it up, by the way. I love it. All right. The other things, if you haven't downloaded Robinhood and Webull and got your free stocks from these apps, then again, this is something you need to do. I'll have all this down below in the description box for everybody on replay and anybody who wants to refresh their screens in the next 1 minute. I'll, I'll have it for you. Um, I don't believe this. Oh, here we go. All right, here we go. This is the one I'm looking for. Fix your credit. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, resolve finance. And I have some things that can improve your credit score. I got Credit Strong, so but Smart Credit is a credit monitoring system, one of the best on the planet. And so therefore that's why it's down below. There's several things that can help you. Just go down below in the description box and do it that way for us all. Share the videos, let other people know what you can do. Credit repair, that's credit monitoring will help you out with that. Uh, Debt resolution, that can help you out. It'll take you 2 years or up to 2 years. Let you guys know. All right. Um, Also, Brian P, if you're still here, let me know if you're still doing yeah, EPR. That's another high dividend. Um, I don't talk about this too often, but we've mentioned it before. Uh, Again, you're messing, if EPR is properties, you're messing around in the real estate game, but it's $56 a share for a 6% dividend yield at this point. We're not down at $39 anymore. It's at 56. It's near its 52-week high. So if you want 6.32%, okay, fine. They got the price targets raised. I got it, but it's only 6.32%. Motley Fool, 5,000 to invest, turning into nearly 350. Okay, listen. if you got 5,000 to invest, yeah, you can put it in EPR and get your 6.32% and get $350. Yeah. Why? Is the magic question. When you know you can get 10% and 15% return on your money. Um, that's weird. Why would you give up $750, $800, $900 annually on your 5,000? I don't understand. But hey, sometimes risk values matter. High risk. So, it could be like that. Brian P, I will. Yield max, exactly. That's exactly right. Yield max ETFs. That's what we talk about here. Defiance Group. Oh yeah, TSLY. Is that coming out in the next week or two? The best of both worlds. Tesla rose, but it's going to be beaten up because China, BYD, they have a floating flotilla that holds 5,000 vehicles that travels around the world, and they just dropped off 5,000, I believe it was somewhere in the EU. 5,000 electric vehicles, and Elon Musk is not protected in the EU no more. Unlike America, still protects him from foreign competition. The EU says, "Nah, we're going to allow in your competition now." Their competition is half the price with more features. That's not going to go well for Tesla. But you know what? TSLY is a Yomax ETF. They base it on option income trading and monies from the fees, the premiums. So there's going to be a lot of trades with Tesla every week, every month. So I expect the dividend to be nice compared to their stock price under $10. Okay. CONY, all these. Yeah, these are all good. I agree with you, Mr. Dividend. CONY kicked off, I can't remember what their dividend was this past week. IWMY is a weekly payout. CONY is a monthly. TSLY is a monthly. All those. So we're still where we want to be, ladies and gentlemen. You have 1 year, 7 months, but you're going to have to find that extra money to invest. That's all I can tell you right now. You have 1 year, 6 months to go. After that, you're going to be on your own. It's going to be a bad, bad, cold world out here. Tell them to get those. Hey, man, we're saying it. Go look at it. TSLY, CONY, IWMY, PLTY, all of that. And in fact, I'm not even mad at ULTY, YMAG, YMAX, weeklies. I'm not mad at none of them either. To make some money, exactly. I'm not mad at them either. CVNY that EV Place was talking about. I'm not mad at that either. Not mad. So, uh, if you can get 10% return in your stock, MSTY is another one that's based on MicroStrategy. They buy Bitcoin, so their stock price stays within a little small range. So if the best world that you want to be in is if you can, your stock price can stay in the, let's just call it $20, and let's just say you can get 5% per month. Uh, that's not who I was thinking about. I'm thinking PLTY, but that's not. That's 60 some dollars. Um, MSTY. MSTY, if you can stay like $20 and the stock price can stay like 20, 1950, 20, and you can get 70, 80% distribution back to you, and the stock price can stay near the same levels, that's what you want, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you want. MSTY is delivering on that so far this year. So that's another one that should be on your list that pays nice, hefty dividends. PLTY, it's another one that's been able to maintain that 58. Well, actually, it only dropped under 60 a few times. You should have bought, so you could, the dollar cost average could have been down there. But since you didn't, now they're at 66 or 65. But still, if you're getting $7, that's 10%. If you can get another $6 or $7 next month, you could be at 14, 13, 12%. Most people would take that annually. The stock price can stay around that same number. You win if you get some sort of return of 60, 70% or higher from distribution. But we need turmoil in the markets, and we're going to have turmoil in the markets. So that's going to be rest assured. So make sure you position yourself where you need to be. It's that simple. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to go check out with the wife a movie that I like. I've seen it before. I just watched Rear View, but I'm going to check out To Catch a Thief. Now, there used to be a TV show, which I wish they would show reruns, To Catch a Thief with Robert Wagner in like the 60s or something, or the 70s. That was cool. But there's a movie with Cary Grant, Grace Kelly, one of the most sexiest women on screen. Well, she has the screen presence, right? And the Princess of Monaco, right? The king saw her on screen and was like, I gotta marry her, right? Kind of like when I saw my wife on stage and I was like, hey, 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 she's gonna be my wife. People are like, it's like, no, she's gonna be my wife, man. She's badass. So um, same type of thing. And I'm gonna go check that out after this. So the wife has it queued up for me, and that's one of it. I like it. If you guys saw Thomas Crown Affair, there's one that was made with Pierce Brosnan, and then there's one that was made in the '70s with oh God, I can't remember his name. Jesus. Uh, well, anyhow, it's along that line of the Thomas Crown Affair. All right, to make some money. There we go. Thank you for that, Mr. Dividend. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Joe Nay, everybody that's been in the house tonight. Brian P., thank you so much for being in the house. Thank you for much. Everybody watching this late night, the extra late night edition. I was late, so I appreciate you guys. I love you guys very much. If you ever need anything, you know what to do. Make comments down below in the comments section. I do answer those. I appreciate those that responded with the 125,000 Airbnb part 1 and 2 for my honesty and letting people know what to expect and the viewpoints I have. I appreciate that. I appreciate anybody that makes comments. You can send me emails at support@stopstrugglingnow.com if you prefer. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Also, my aunt is coming off hospice, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. She's coming off hospice this week. The doctor came to see her last week. They're going to write up the notes, get her off of hospice. This is great. Mentally, she has dementia, Alzheimer's. We made a concoction that I told you guys about before. SSN Lifestyle is more than making money. It's your health is your wealth, because if you don't have to go see a doctor, that means you keep money in your pocket. And if you don't have to have mental breakdowns and it's unnecessary, there's things that you can do. She's come back to life after, and I'll just say this. My uncle and aunt, just so everybody understands, your diet matters. My uncle and aunt, because my aunt never really cooked dinner her whole life, and my uncle, they would go out and eat because they have money, right? So they're like, there's no reason. So they got married. They didn't have kids. They got married at an older age. They didn't have children. They have children, but not under 18, not even under 30, right? So, but the point is, they always went out to eat processed foods. And they would go to buffets and restaurants, but that doesn't mean anything because everything's not organically made or fresh, right? Processed foods kill you. And also processed foods, sugar is is against humans. I don't even know how governments are allowed to even sell equal, which is bad for you. The sweet and low, bad for you. I don't even know how this alternative stuff is even allowed to be sold. Sugar, ladies and gentlemen, is very bad for you. Sugar on the brain, mental amnesia, dementia problems. Sugar in your blood, diabetes, transports cancers, diabetes, causes it in your body. Carbohydrates and sugar are against humans. Consume less will knock off a whole bunch of health issues. Just letting you guys know, all right? I'm trying to get with the wife and I'm trying to see if there's something we can produce because it would be awesome. James Way, I forgot, was in the house tonight as well because the rent is too damn high. But it's hard out here, ladies and gentlemen. You're being inundated with a lot of bad substances in your body. And what comes in bad Your body responds. It can't filter out everything. So if you're trying to just go, well, I'll just bombard my body and that nothing's happened to me in 20 years, nothing's happened to me in 30 years. I'm 50 years old. I've been bad habits. Wait till you're 60 then. Wait till you're 65 then. Wait till you're 70. And all of a sudden, your body starts breaking down. You might mentally break down from dementia, Alzheimer's. It might be you have cancers, which are tumors. Just try to stay clean as possible. That's my only suggestion. All right. And with all that said, you know it's hard out here. You know people are going to be going through it. So make sure you have the protection that you need for yourself because people are going to lose their mind, especially if you have mobs, groups. They're going to lose their mind. So you got to make sure you're going to be able to protect you and your family. Otherwise, you got to join the mob, right? So you can be like part of the gang. All right. That's it. That's wonderful news. Thank you, Brian P. Exactly. Much blessings and prayer for your family. Thank you so much, man. That's it. Exactly. It's going to be awesome. So, you guys know what this means. It means no matter what happens, always, whatever somebody tries to put you down, whenever somebody says you can't do it, whenever somebody puts blocks in the road to try to stop you, make sure you keep your head up. You keep moving through the obstacles, through the game of life. And I'm out.